My journey began in Michoacán, Mexico. Mi tierra querida that I left at the age of 6 months and have not returned. I don't remember my land, yet feel so connected to it and to my cultura. It's a complicated feeling, being born in a place that I do not remember and yearning to return. People often tell me that I'm basically from here, and yet I feel more Mexican than anything. While I do not remember my native land or the family I left behind, being born in La Mira, Michoacán, Mexico, has impacted every day of my life in the United States as an immigrant and as an oldest daughter of immigrant parents. My brave mother brought me to the United States when she was only 26 years old. I was 6 months at the time. There were many times when our lives were placed in danger, and yet she had the courage to continue out of necessity and a fierce need to provide for her children. I am in awe of her bravery every day. My parents sacrificed their lives for this country and never saw their parents again to afford their children the chance at an education and an opportunity for a better life. I had always liked school and can confidently confirm I was an overachiever, somewhat of a nerd in disguise. I started taking many AP classes and enrolled in local community college courses. When my counselor told me to apply for a summer program, I did it. When he encouraged me to apply for a college prep program at UC Berkeley, I did it. When I was required to apply to UC Berkeley by that same program, I did it without fully understanding the collegiate system and the influence that some universities hold. In college, I learned the term for those higher achiever tendencies, hyper-documented. As a student, I held an ideology in my educational journey to be the best to compensate for something that I could not change, my undocumented status. I tied my worthiness as a human being to my educational achievements. My journey was different. I was the exception and not the norm when I was accepted to UC Berkeley. This was something I could not have achieved without the support of my parents. While they didn't have the educational knowledge to guide me through the process, their encouragement and their unwavering support in me made all the difference. It was such an incredible moment for my family, a moment of pride for my parents, and an example for my younger brothers that they one day could too attend an elite institution. At 5 years, I was learning to speak English and had no idea what college was. And my little brother, at the age of 5, was wearing Berkeley gear and professing that he too was going to attend Berkeley. 2017 marked a transitional year for my family. I moved out to college, and my dad launched his business. For 16 years, my dad was a painter, working for another company before bravely starting his own. In 2016, California passed a policy allowing undocumented individuals to apply for professional licenses. It allowed my dad to legitimize his business and open his own painting company. It also meant that as the oldest, it was expected of me to help my dad navigate that process. While legal status was no longer a barrier, language and business knowledge continued to be. Not only was I a translator, but I also had to learn how to administer a business. I learned about EIN numbers for businesses and establishing one with the IRS. I learned about workers' compensation, general liability, bond insurance necessary for operating a construction business. I learned how to onboard employees and how to manage payroll. I learned to draft estimates, contracts, invoices. I learned how to properly file taxes and the importance of having up-to-date books. And I was only a freshman in college, so 18. While my peers at the time were worried about their courses and their extracurricular activities, I was juggling all those things at one of the country's most challenging schools and worrying about our family business. I was learning valuable skills without even realizing it, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. It's only now that I realize how much of my youth was spent handling responsibilities associated with adulthood. And because of this sense of responsibility, I had never considered being so far away from home. However, that didn't limit me from pursuing my own career goals. After graduation, I applied to the Coro Fellows program in public affairs, hoping to stay in the San Francisco Bay Area. When I was accepted to St. Louis, to be honest, I completely ignored the email. I couldn't fathom leaving my family, and to be fair, I also did not know where St. Louis was. Oldest daughters in Latino households are expected to stay close to home. We're expected to learn to navigate the systems in the United States to help our family. Most of my life was spent supporting my dad in a small business, translating for my mom in healthcare settings, and guiding my brothers through the education system. I'm the go-to person for anything, whether that be for guidings, resolving an issue, or even just planning our vacations. I had been my family's protector. So, the mere thought of leaving my family, knowing that they needed me, made me feel selfish and guilty. How dare I abandon my family to pursue something that I wanted? While my parents provided their unconditional support, it was hard for them to accept that their only daughter would be moving across the country. And although my mother never vocalized it, I knew that me leaving wasn't what she wanted, what parent does. And while he was extremely supportive of my need to get out of my comfort zone and grow, my dad knew that I wouldn't be as available to support our business, but we'd make it work. I'm proud that I took this leap to forge my own path outside of the family nucleus. Thank you. Because St. Louis is where I came into my power and my voice. Throughout my life, I had always had to be the voice of my family, but had never done so for myself. Moving across the country by myself pushed me to navigate the unknown. St. Louis is where I learned to be comfortable in my own skin. It's where I came to terms with being the only Latina in the room and to not feel uncomfortable by it. St. Louis is where I learned to activate my power and embrace my voice. While I was experiencing this new journey, the feelings of responsibility to my family didn't just magically disappear. I wasn't supporting my dad with a small business as often as I had been. I worried that my mother wasn't receiving comprehensive health care because of a language barrier, and I was no longer experiencing my brother's educational milestones firsthand. And while my parents were not resentful of me for taking this opportunity, it's still hard to distance myself from the pressure that has been ingrained in me from a young age. I'm definitely still figuring it out and trying to find the best ways I can use this newfound power to benefit my whole family. Earlier this year, I traveled to California to visit my mom, who had been having some health issues. And that same week, my dad had a misunderstanding with one of his clients at a job site. Due to the language barrier, it was difficult for my dad to understand her and vice versa. She was rude and degrading to someone that she looked down on, someone with darker skin and mestizo features, a complexion that I have proudly inherited from my parents. So I said, nope, not today. No. I was not going to allow someone to treat my family that way. Yeah, if she wanted to speak to someone who spoke English fluently, then she'd direct herself with me. Yeah. So I accompanied my dad to the job site, and with a firm handshake, I introduced myself and expressed my desire to clear up any confusion. The power that I felt in standing up for myself and for my family was a direct result of me forging my own path. I have learned to channel the anger and the fear that comes with standing up for yourself and to do it regardless. Oldest daughters lead the family nucleus. We are protectors and often a third parent to our younger siblings. But that does not mean that we can't have our own story. I have led and continue to lead my family. However, I've also learned to listen to that part of me that craves independence and the space to focus on my own career and aspirations. While beautiful, it's not always a smooth journey, and that's okay. I'm still in the process of unlearning the patterns of dependency that I have enabled, and embracing the emotions that come with it. I'm realizing that some of the expectations that have been placed on me are unrealistic for a 25-year-old who's starting her career and frankly, still figuring out who she is. That while it may sometimes feel like my time is running out to accomplish everything that I want in life, I'm actually ahead of the game. And I'm learning to let go of the self-imposed pressure and to give myself grace. The biggest lesson that I've learned is that when I'm good, my family's good. Yeah. At this place in my journey, I look back grateful to God and for my family's support, and look forward to a bright future as I independently build a new path. Thank you.